Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first Fired Up Charla. My name is Fernanda Canchola, and I am Mana de San Diego's Membership and Events Coordinator. We're super excited for our event tonight, but before I go ahead and turn it over to our hosts for this evening, I wanted to thank you all for joining us today. And I also wanted to explain a little bit about our goals for this event. So we know it is a pandemic out there, and we haven't had very many opportunities to connect with you, our members. So what we wanted to do was connect with you in a fun and engaging way. And the idea of gathering up for some tacos during happy hour came up. We were thinking of the show Hot Ones when we were inspired for this idea. So we knew that for today's and for our first event, we wanted to introduce our executive director. But for our event in October, so we're going to do a second edition of this event. I'm sorry, not October, in November. We wanted to go ahead and ask for your feedback. I would love to hear what kind of topics you would like to hear and what you would like to see from our interviewees and hosts, and who you would like to see as our interviewees and hosts. So I am going to go ahead and invite you all to share your suggestions through our comments on the live chat, as well as, in addition to an email to our email, manasd@manasd.org. Now, without further ado, it is my honor to introduce our hosts for this evening. Since moving to San Diego, David and Jessica Mier have been dedicated to supporting the diverse community in San Diego in an effort to make a more inclusive environment for everybody in San Diego. As the district director for Congresswoman Susan Davis, Jessica oversees all district staff activities and is responsible for ensuring timely delivery of constituent services and community outreach, while also leading the local implementation of policy strategies. David Mier is the Director of Community Affairs for UC San Diego Health and is responsible for the health system's community benefit activities. Since joining in 2011, David has been instrumental to the success of the health system's community-facing internal and external-facing initiatives. While certainly proud of their other personal and professional accolades and community involvement, the Miers are most proud of their volunteer work honoring our Latinx and LGBTQ+ communities by advocating for fair, equitable, and inclusive policies and practices. Both are active members of the Stonewall Citizens Patrol, where Jessica is the secretary, members of Mana de San Diego, where David is a board member, and both are actively involved with the Hillcrest Town Council. They were recently awarded the Friend of Pride Award by Pride San Diego for their work as allies in the community. Jessica and David live in Mission Hills with their always fabulous cat, Lady Kitty Bumpkin, who might make an appearance today.
Great. Well, thank you all again. It's David and Jessica here.
Hi, everyone.
And I just want to say thank you all for joining us. I know, again, as Fernanda said, there are a number of things that we're getting sucked into, tons of Zoom calls that we're all on constantly. So today we want to be super respectful of your time. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Fernanda, for that awesome introduction. And most of all, without further ado, a small introduction here to our new executive director of Mana de San Diego, Inez. We're going to keep the introduction light just because you're going to get to know her through this interview. But Inez will be sharing a lot of kind of her background, all of her experience, and helping us with some helpful insight and tips on how she made it in life here. So as Fernanda mentioned, we're going to be following the Hot One style interview process here. If you've all seen that show, or if you haven't, I recommend it. Go check it out on YouTube. But it's a very basic idea. What we're going to do is we're going to conduct a quick interview here. Before we ask each question, we're all going to try salsas. They're progressively going to get hotter and hotter. And yeah, we chose some pretty hot ones. We actually took this seriously. We went out to a little shop over here in Seaport Village called Hot Links. Shout out to them. Go check them out if you have a chance. And we tried like everything. And ultimately we had to tell them to really boost it up here. We needed to make this serious. This is a serious thing with these hot sauces. So
and I don't like spicy stuff at all, guys. So it was a
Jessica's
very
right now.
challenging experience for me, going through many hot sauces to trying to figure out which are the spiciest ones. I'm usually going the opposite direction, not that direction.
So the basic point here is, we're gonna progress again with hotter and hotter salsas, and and the whole basic idea is, to see how Inez handles the questions and handles the heat most of all. So without further ado, Inez Perezchica, our new executive director of Mana, thank you again for this opportunity to ask you a few questions. Before we jump into our first question, we'll kind of start with the process here. We're gonna introduce our first hot sauce. It's, I think we're gonna throw it up on the screen. I think that was the idea, was it?
We'll continue. Keep reading it.
Either way, okay, I'll just read it off here. Gentleman Farmer, that's the name of the company, and the hot sauce is Naga Warrior. And it's a pineapple, onion, garlic, and some other there it is. There you go, guys. So as Inez takes a bite, Jessica's gonna, or I'm gonna read the first question actually. And it's kind of
I will take the first bite, which is good because I don't want to get to the more hotter one. So I will do that right now. Inez, you and I are gonna be buddies on this effort.
All right, so the first one is kind of a softball intro one here, Inez. We're gonna start a little casual and easy. But basically we wanna know about your upbringing. We wanna know how your kind of family dynamic and your career path kind of led you eventually to be here as our new executive director. We know you have amazing experiences, positions you've held, and all of the activist work you've done. So love to hear how your upbringing really fed into that. So I'll let you take it from there.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Jessica and David, for having this great idea. And Fernanda, thank you. I wasn't sure how it was gonna work eating and answering a question, and I'm eating and speaking, which I was taught that was not correct. So let me follow.
We did it a different way, because that way David can ask a question while I chew, and then we'll make you do both.
And I hope everybody's joining us. Hopefully people follow tacos and have tequila, and if not, just get a drink. So I was born and raised in Tijuana. I'm the youngest of 7 girls. And you might know one of my hermanas, that's actually my blood sister as well, Norma Gonzalez Hasso, very involved with Mana. She's probably in the audience. Maybe some other sisters are participating in the audience as well. But being the youngest, yes, I was the chiquiada, and really I feel my parents were tired, right, after 7 kids. And so I think my sisters played a big role in raising me as well. And I'm really grateful because what I had is a lot of mentors, right? My sisters and role models, and I paid attention and I learned from them, from their good experiences and maybe from their bad experiences. And we're a really close family. So that definitely is very much part of my identity. I come from a family of strong women. And I did not grow up thinking that there were limitations that I had because I was a woman. And the other thing that I want to say about my upbringing is that my parents were devout Catholics, and they really believed in charity work. And so they adopted orphanages, and we would go on Saturdays to, like many Saturdays for many years, I spent in an orphanage. Christmas Eve, I spent in an orphanage with the girls. And so I just feel a sense of responsibility that you have to do charity work. You just have to do good work for others. And so I guess those are the 2 things that hopefully give a little bit of insight of who I am. Come from a strong family and a responsibility to do good.
That's awesome. Shout out to the babies out there. I'm a fellow baby. I'm the last one. of three. Jessica's the oldest.
I'm the oldest, so
she has a chip on her shoulder because no, I'm just.
Well, but you bring up a really good point, Inez. Most people always think that the oldest child is the one that kind of sets the tone for the family, right? And that's what they're burdened with. I call it a burden because it really is a burden. But for you, as the youngest of 7 children, like that, to be able to learn from that and to move and to understand what they did right or wrong, is a great kind of perspective as you say, the youngest child.
And I just want to say thumbs up for salsa one, piece of cake, good flavor.
Yeah, right? It's really good. It's not too spicy. It still kind of gets me in a little bit in the
Pineapple.
A little bit, but I think there's enough fruta in there that I don't feel as compelled to be mad about it.
Right on. So we'll just jump to the second question. Before we do that, we're gonna check out the second salsa. If we want to put up the second salsa now. This is one of my go-to favorites here. It's from Yucateco, and it's just a green habanero sauce here, and it got some kick, man. It's good stuff if you want to do it right. So cheers, Inez, to the second taco here.
All right. Well, while you guys are having that amazing bite from that very spicy habanero verde sauce over there, I'm gonna, you just proved it to us, Inez, and this is kind of gonna be kind of a 2-part question for you. So you were just very eloquent in expressing what your family did for you and how that's translated for, how that led you in the career that you have and how that led you to Mana. Being a public speaker is one of the most challenging things that I think we all have to deal with. I mean, I think David was telling me earlier about how people have more nerves around public speaking, including us, than most things that people would consider, like, what did you say, bungee jumping?
So public speaking is the #1 fear in the United States. People are more scared of public speaking than they are of ghosts and aliens and
aliens. I was like, really, aliens? But okay.
And heights is the number 2 one. So
that makes sense to me. So with that said, how do you become a good public speaker? What are some of the tips that you have learned over your career and your experiences that help the rest of us? Yeah. Because we want to make sure that when we're the only person in the room, or that we're talking to our families or our friends with some authority, that we're communicating it correctly. So what are some good tips that you use to make that happen?
Yeah, so communication skills are so important for your success. And I did know that when I started my career. And, when I was starting my career, there was a focus on know your weaknesses. I think now it's changed to know your strengths. And I know that that's like very valuable, because once you know your strengths, you can work from them. But, weakness is public speaking was one of the things I wanted to get better at, and I worked on it. So a few things that I did is I joined Toastmasters, and, I was thinking that I joined with my friend Lulu Barcelona, who I know from Mana. So together we joined that group, Chula Vista Bilingual Toastmasters, and Nelly Andrade. I don't know if she was already part of it, but there we were, 3 Mana sisters, and I did the 10 speeches, and so that was helpful. I totally recommend that. I think Toastmasters is legit and has a great system. The other thing that I did is I had this colleague of mine, we were office mates, and she was a really good speaker. And it just occurred to me as I started paying attention to the good speakers that acting and good speakers, I just felt there was something there. And I decided to go and take an acting class. I already had my degree. I went to Southwestern College and enrolled for a class with Bill Burgess. And the first day of class, we're in this theater room, and the first exercise is to get in the middle of the stage, and they would play the song that you wanted, that you selected, but you had to sing it in the middle. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I don't need to do this. I already have my degree. I could just walk out, and seriously, I mean, all this time when there's 30 people and, I'm like thinking, do I walk out? Do I walk out? And so I did not walk out. I got there, and it was just like so terrifying. And it was that song, Desiree song of You gotta be bold, you gotta be bright, you gotta be tougher.
Yeah. So you did it.
I did it. And I know I'm not a good actor. I didn't do it for the acting. I did it to get outside my comfort zone. And I recommend that for people. I think.
How was your singing though? Did you?
Awful. I'm a really bad singer.
I think for the next Charla, we need to have you do the intro of like, or like, something really cool.
Karaoke. We gotta do a karaoke party. Yeah.
On a karaoke night, everyone.
You heard it here first. I'm just saying.
Right on. Well,
so, salsa number 2 was good.
Yeah, what'd you think?
What'd you like about it?
Yeah, I liked it. It's hotter for sure. It's getting hotter. Yes.
Habanero was good. All right, so just to keep things rolling here, we're gonna go on to number 3 here. So if we want to throw up the third wonderful salsa. Oh, that's the second. Let's go to our third one.
That's the second one. The next one.
So this is the peach agave garlic. So it's Peplish provisions, and this one really boosts it up, guys. This is
So we went from like 2 to like 10 in this change. So I'm gonna be the one trying this one, and I am not looking forward to this one.
I'll ask the question, guys. So Inez, the next question, and this is as a board member with Mana, this is on our strategic priority list. Definitely, we always are trying to work on, making Mana, accessible and open and welcoming to as many people from all backgrounds, but especially, to the constituency that we're aiming at, which is our Latinas and Latino community, Latinx community in San Diego. And so the big question is, how do we make Mana more inclusive? But I'm going to kind of subtitle or subtext it here. How do we, make Mana more inclusive of our Latinx LGBT community, of of our different generational, different generations of Latinas or Latinos, and also how do we get back those Mana members that may have fallen off membership over the years for whatever reason? How do we get them back? Because we want to get them back. We want to make Mana, welcoming and a good place for them. So how do we do that?
Yeah, and I just want to add, Mana is the premier Latina organization, and so we want to make sure that all the Latinas have the ability to be with us and include them in our conversations. And so, if we can do that, that would make even more of an impact for our community here in San Diego.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the challenge has been that we have a small staff, and the challenge of a small, we're growing, but a small nonprofit that's not staffed with enough people, we're going fast and we're so in the weeds that sometimes we don't take the time to have this question of like, how do we make sure that everybody feels included? And so my approach as the new executive director, but a longtime member, is to tell the members, this is your organization. I mean, 5 people on staff cannot do the great things that we are meant to do. And my message to the wonderful volunteers that we have is this: we have this great community. And so I want you to get engaged and come back with ideas of how you can be engaged, but have an idea, have a team, and be ready to execute. Because if you come up with an idea, I mean, we just can't handle more work right now, to be honest, right? We need to hire more people. So I hope that people feel like this is your organization. I know that years ago, when I was a member before I left San Diego, the founders felt left out. Like we were going so fast and everything, and they felt left out. And so you have to be active. You have to take ownership. This is your community, and you just have to tell Fernanda, Rosa, our fabulous Rosa Maria Hernandez, doing great work in fundraising, but she was doing like 3 jobs. Now we have a membership coordinator, and Fernanda's doing a great job. Go to her, give her ideas, but also don't give her work. Give her ideas and be willing to execute. But I'm super excited. I think we have a wonderful community. And I think as I'm telling people, this is your community, people are feeling like, okay, and we just have so many committed volunteers. I'm gonna tell you, one of the biggest challenges is how do you manage volunteers when you're not paying them. They're busy and you're not paying them, but we have really committed people. There's also some talkers out there, right? I mean, it's like, so we want to find the workers, the ones that want to help and help us move the vision forward. But thank you for that question. And I have heard, that there's a perception that mana is cliquish. Perception is reality. I've also heard some people go, no, I don't think so. And so if you have that perception, give us a chance. The work is too important for you to stay away because you think you're not being welcome. I'm telling you, you are welcome and we need you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do that you mentioned about the cliques. I think it's important, I have been a member of Mana for a long time, but I, for whatever reason, I wasn't really engaged. And poor Rosa Maria tried multiple years to get me to join the committee. And I finally did. I joined membership. And I think it's really good that when you do join these committees that you stay engaged and involved. And I think this idea about having this event came from a membership meeting that we had, and we went with it, and here we are. So I think that's great that you want to make sure the members feel like they're being heard, that their ideas are validated, and that they're also going to put in the work to make it happen. So I think that's great, and that's, out there, join Mana, join the committees. All the help we can get is always great.
Hey everyone, I just want to chime in. We're getting your audience questions. We're keeping track of them. We're going to give you all the details once we're through with our other questions, but keep them coming, okay? These are good. All right, I'm digging them. All right, we're gonna go on to the next one, Inez. This is where it gets like, it gets ridiculous.
I'm scared.
I don't know this one, so I'm excited about this.
It gets painful and not, I don't know, this isn't something to eat. This is just to show off or something. So this is from the little group again, from Hot Licks over there in Seaport Village. If you guys have a chance to go check them out, they were really cool. They totally wanted to help us out with this, and they really they were really good sports about it. But this one has a pretty apt name. It's just called Suicide Sauce. I don't know what the hell is in it. There's a list right there. It's habanero and jalapeno.
That should not be that spicy based on the ingredients. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's ridiculous. And all right, I'm gonna join you here.
All right, so while you guys have that wonderful bite from that very strong salsa right there.
Oh, man, this is gonna suck.
This is again, we're progressing the questions here. So this one is actually a little more temperamental, I guess. See, so as a Latina, you're or as a person of color, you're always in meetings and community events and just out in the world. You might be the only person of color that is in a board meeting, in a community meeting, in just a group of people. And have you ever been told to stay in your lane, that this doesn't concern you? And how did you feel when someone told you that, and how did you respond to that? I think sometimes for a lot of us, when we're the only person in that room, we're kind of pigeonholed to a certain characteristic of what our response should be. And so we do get a lot of stay in your lane. This doesn't concern you. This is not your problem. This is not about you. So how do you come back with that? Obviously, we lead with kindness, but also we're also fierce. So how do you do that?
I just want to make sure your husband's okay.
I know, dude. What are you like?
It's because he thought he can handle, and he put a lot more than one drop.
Guys, I'm being
I only
serious.
did a drop.
He has.
It just doesn't taste good.
Okay,
dude.
he has water, he has tequila, and he has milk. He will be fine, and he'll keep coughing. But Inez, this is your time.
Oh,
This is what you get for having too much.
yeah, dude.
I didn't have any, so I'm
man.
perfectly fine. I will join you on the next one.
No, I'm not doing it. Look at that. My lips are getting nice and plump.
It's a beautiful plump of lip. Didn't cost him a thing. No Botox, no Botox needed here.
We thank you, David, for really being bold. That was the fun of it, right? So thank you for taking a big bite. I actually I was recently told to stay on my lane. I won't say who told me that, but really not in this context. So that's really funny that you're saying that. But, I feel that it's more about people and how they perceive us and how they want to pigeonhole us, right? And, I have evolved as a person. I I am now at 54, a bold leader, and no one's gonna tell me what my lane is. I'm a leader, and I care about a lot of things. I am very careful when I voice an opinion. I want to be informed. I think it's super important. I think, like, I'm not a mother. I don't opine on anything related to raising kids because that is not, I do stay in my lane in that way. But when people want to pigeonhole me because I'm a Latina and I shouldn't care about, I don't know what, I mean, you read a lot about how when media that's not diverse talks about Latinos, supposedly the only thing we care about is immigration. And yes, we care about immigration, but we care about so many other things. And so I'm just really grateful. I've taken a lot of leadership programs. I wasn't this bold. I actually, when I first came from Tijuana, I feel I lost my voice. I do think I was a leader in Tijuana. I was always elected to be the president of my class and things like that. So I had some leadership abilities. And when I came here, I did feel like the other, and I just lost my voice for many years, and slowly I regained it. And so I just want to tell people that it's so important because our community needs it. And even though David is still struggling,
Dude.
Even though we're doing really well in some areas, the truth is there's still spaces where we're the only Latina. And I saw it in DC. I lived in DC for a couple of years. In telecom, there's almost no Latinos there. There's a lot of Latinos in housing. I mean, there's certain sectors where we're not there, and it still happens. And there used to be a time when I would just be quiet because you're like thinking, am I going to say the right thing? There's no time. If you're the only Latina there's no time to go, let me think this through and everything. You got to say something. And so I'm just grateful that I have regained my voice, and we all have to go through leadership programs. Mana has an LSLP program that's very successful because we really want you to do well, but we need you as leaders. We need you as ethical leaders because we have, we are at the point where we're electing more Latinos, but we want ethical Latinos that actually are change agents and will create the change that we need.
Oh, exactly. Totally. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, how do you, and someone like you who, I totally admire that you are the few Latinas who have a PhD. So to have someone tell you, of all people, to stay in your lane, it's just ridiculous to me. Like you have a PhD, you know more than most people do, and you are one of the few of us that have such you've gone through the entire educational system, and so it's always concerning. So that, what I think I mentioned to David the other day, when I don't feel comfortable talking to people in a board meeting, I also figure how to navigate that too. And so what I do is talk to my colleagues who may have a better voice in that board meeting, and then use your connections, use who you know and how you know them, because the message you're trying to deliver may also work if someone else is delivering it for you. Because the idea is, I think you would agree with me, Inez, is to have the message be given and given correctly. So
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I have studied when I went to Harvard, there's this faculty member at Harvard that's well known that teaches leadership, and there's this book, Leadership on the Line. There's dangers on leadership, right? You can be assassinated literally or figuratively, and so you have to also, as you're bold, you don't want to be cut out. So if you're super bold, and I see that sometimes with people, if you're like super threatening, they're going to cut you out. The powers are going to cut you out. So what you just said is the strategy of, like, the whole thing is, how do you move your point forward? And sometimes it's not you, it's like a strategy. That is so important, Jessica. And how is your husband doing with the salsa?
Honestly,
I'm looking at the milk more and more. We have milk here on the other side, guys, because that's how chicken I am.
I think he's ready for the next sauce. I think he's ready to engage in that. But please be careful with that one, just one drop.
You're so brave. You're such a good board member. I hope the audience is also joining us with this.
I hope we know what they're eating. I hope they're having some delicious tacos and some salsa. I saw that people were making their own salsas at home, which is amazing.
Awesome.
Please share the recipes with us, because I don't know how to make salsa because I don't really eat it often. But I'd love to know how to make some good salsas. So David.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our fifth one here, and this is kind of the little more famous one here. So this one is on that show, Hot Ones again. If you watch that show, this is where like the interview just kind of it stands still a little, because this one's kind of known for knocking people off their game. So this one's called The Bomb.
And it is the bomb.
These people are naming geniuses, and I don't know what any of that 130,000 Scoville stuff means, but I'll tell you, yeah, this one I can't eat a lot of because it makes me cry. But I'm gonna go for it, guys. And
we're both gonna go for this one because at this point,
cheers,
why not?
Inez, cheers again. Oh shit, that was too much.
Oh my god, you put a lot in there.
All right, just do it, dude.
Oh my god. Okay.
All right, here we go. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers with the last taco here.
Wow.
Oh my god, that's burning. Oh.
Just putting a little bit.
Oh my god. Oh, it's already burning.
No, it's good.
No, I'm done.
God damn, dude.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Let me just swallow this. Hold up.
Oh my god. I'm gonna put it back, guys. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's painful, guys.
Oh.
All right. So the last piece here that we have to our interview. Hold on.
Oh, Dios mío.
That's pretty hot. I only did a little bit. And it's super hot.
It's under my tongue. And
David poured a lot in his taco, and he equally poured that much on mine. I cannot feel my mouth right now.
My tongue is like.
All right. So the last section here on Hot Ones.
So can we take the salsa flyer out, or
Yeah. Sure.
I want to see the Myers. Yeah.
All right. So.
Oh, I'm dying, Inez. I'm dying.
Let me get some more water.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, guys. I am a weak person. I'm going for the milk.
Thank you for doing this.
All right. So the last one.
Great people.
There's a little. So there's a segment in Hot Ones where it's on there. They call it Know Your Gram, and it's a simple idea. We scour the interviewee's social media, and we look for random posts, and we put them up on the screen. We read a little piece of it, and basically we ask the interviewee for some context, some explanation, explain any of the abbreviations or acronyms or who's in the picture.
Inez, are you pouring more salsa into your taco?
Number one. I went back to number one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh my god, you are a brave individual.
All right, so we'll go to our first picture here, our first screenshot of a post. I don't know if you've seen all these.
Oh no!
Ooh, fabulous.
All right, so
I don't see it. What is it?
Earlier today, the first one is a screenshot of here. I'll bring it up on my phone as well.
I think they're gonna put them on screen for you all to see what we're gonna be talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, but if we, if you have to talk during this, I don't know if I can, guys.
Yeah, that was dumb for me to put that much on because now my ear's hurting.
Oh,
and this video is really good, by the way.
Oh yeah, I have.
Right on. So this is a post from June 6, 2019. Inez, it was late at night when I was reading this, reading all your social media. And
he wasn't stalking you or anything.
I know.
Just for clarification.
And this is the first thing I came on your Instagram, and right away, I'm a chillon, I'm a crier. I'm man enough to admit it. And your post here made me cry. And so I'm going to read just the first little part there, and it's a magnificent post, and the picture is amazing. So I'm just going to read it here. My dad was a paratrooper during World War II. He jumped on D-Day. He didn't talk about the war. I remember him crying watching World War II movies. For the rest of his life, he would be a man of great faith, probably from surviving a living hell. Latinos have been fighting for this country forever. Hashtag Normandy, hashtag Latino veterans, and hashtag no to war. So Inez, explain that post.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So, I worked at the National Hispanic Media Coalition, and when I worked there, Burns, what is his first name? I can't remember. He's a big time film producer for Ken Burns. Yeah. Ken Burns came out with a film about paying tribute to all the veterans, and he did not include Latinos. And I was part of a national campaign, started actually by Gus Chavez and a professor, Maggie Rivas, I think is her name, and actually Gus Chavez, and I think there might be two Gus Chavezes in San Diego. I'm a little bit confused about that, but one of them reached out to us and we got involved. And so we get ignored. We get ignored about our contributions. And this mobilized a lot of people because people had parents. I had a dad that jumped on D-Day, and so many people have relatives that have fought, and our stories haven't been told. And Ken Burns ignored it and then actually had to go back and re-edit and add a chapter of us. And so this happens a lot. And so I think that experience also made me want to post that, but it's true. And honoring my dad, and I did it on June 6th, which is D-Day, and I want to go to Normandy. I was really close. I was in Europe, and I was gonna do that, and it wasn't meant to be, but it's a bucket list for sure. But I just feel that our stories get ignored, and this is personal, and so many people can relate to it. And I do think it was transformational for my dad. My dad was a devout Catholic, and I don't know if it happened after the war, but I do think that it probably did, because there's stories of paratroopers that jumped, and their equipment was so heavy that they actually they fell on this water that wasn't that deep, but they died and they drowned because they didn't realize. I mean, if they would have stood up, I mean, there's so many stories and we don't know these stories. And so part of my history is the need to tell our stories. And it's just been a really interesting career, because there was no plan, there was no 5-year plan, no 10-year plan. And I know there's people that have that. I just went with the flow. I'm a person of faith. And now I see that the universe had an amazingly perfect plan for me that I could never see. And that is one of them, of like, I understand now that our stories aren't being told. Mine is part of this story. We're gonna have to figure out how to tell more stories, because non-Latinos, some see us as the other, and we're not the other. When you fight in a war for this country, there's no way you are the other.
We've all lost relatives in war, and it doesn't matter what color you are or where you live or ethnicity, you have all suffered the consequence of war.
Yeah,
so.
I'll shout out to one of the things Jessica works on. She works on the deported veterans issue, and has for many years. And if you guys aren't up on kind of what's happening with our deported veterans, I encourage you to go and learn, because it's ridiculous, and we need to get these people exactly what they deserve. They should have
what they were entitled to.
What they're entitled to. And so all right. Anyways, sorry. We'll go on to our second one here. Inez, thank you for sharing that. I know that was deeply personal, and I appreciate it. Like I said, I was really moved by that one. But I'll move on to our second one. This is from July 10th, 2018. It's from DC, so you were in DC there at the National Portrait Gallery. And I'll just read the top there, Inez, for you. Only 4 women have served on the U.S. Supreme Court. We need to change that. Elections matter. I dig it. I know we're a 501c3. You can't get too political.
Don't get political.
But I love this post, and I just wanted to hear what.
Especially now that our communities need to move into being counted in the census and being counted through the vote and have their voices heard. So Inez.
Yeah, so I really do try to be very thoughtful in my post and educate in my own way. And that is one thing, because to me, it's shocking that we've only had 4 women in the Supreme Court. And we only get information from media. So if media is not making it that easy, but for me as a woman, that is shocking. And so we really need to be more vocal about this, because it's just incredible. And there's so many other stats that I can tell you, right? The lack of representation in Congress, it's getting better, but it's just not right. Women are 51% of the population, and we're just so behind, and we should not be okay. and we're in 2020, right? So I just, I am very thoughtful, and I'm trying to, in my own small contribution, educate people, make it thought provoking, and all of that. And now with Mana, I definitely advocate. He's very important to me. I know the limits of what we can do and what we can't do, but I'm definitely super excited of using the Mana platform to move the policy issues that will change people's lives.
And we definitely have an advocacy committee. Raquel Marquez Madden is the chair. Shout out to Raquel. And if anybody out there is interested in joining that committee, we encourage you to go and reach out.
And we have a
so I want to save time because I would like to ask you a question. So can we move to that?
We'll move to the next one then.
Yeah. You wanna? Okay, here's our next one. We'll be quick on these then, Inez. I'm not gonna go too fast here. So we got a next one for March 15, 2009. I think I stole this from your friend's Facebook page and not yours.
But again, not creepy.
But yeah, what's going on here? You're also in Arlington. We used to live in Arlington for a little while. And what's NHLI? Let us know what's going on here.
So NHLI is National Hispana Leadership Institute, and that is one of the many leadership programs that I participated in, one of the best ones that no longer exists, and that is a very sad thing to me. And so there's so much I could say about this, because one of the things is I've learned how important it is to have strong board members that figure out how not to allow a great nonprofit to go under. I mean, that's like one very controversial issue that I'll say here in San Diego, because probably, I'm not offending anybody of the board members that were there, but it is so sad that organization no longer exists. And through that program, I ended up going to the Center for Creative Leadership for a week. The Center for Creative Leadership is now partnering with Mana. That's why we have the LSLP. The Center for Creative Leadership is one of the top leadership programs of the world. And it's here in San Diego, and without NHLI, I would never have found that out. And when I was there, I was one of the few Latinas there. There were engineers from Europe. Europe sends a lot of their leaders to a lot of their managers to become leaders. So the other thing that NHLI did for me is it took me to Harvard for a week. And actually it was only because of that experience that I ended up applying for a master's. And so those women there, they're my hermanas as well. Cindy Benavides is there. Cindy's a great friend. She's the leader of LULAC now. Laura Esquivel works lives in DC and is another great friend. So yeah, that is a picture of so many hermanas that I have met through great leadership programs that are doing great work. And I will say, Michelle and Cindy really pushed me to apply for Harvard. Even though I've always been a great student, I would never have done it. And that was like a very scary thing, okay? And like in my late 40s, without a plan, figuring out how do I apply? How do I figure, I had 2 mortgages, I'm single. I mean, it's like, how do you do that? And they were pushing me, and I'm so grateful. That was the best gift that I gave myself to go to Harvard. So can I ask a question now? Is it my turn?
Go for it, your turn.
So, I see you as a power couple, a young power couple in San Diego, and I want to know more about how you met and also why you're involved with Mana. And I'm really grateful that you are.
I guess I'll answer the how we met. So David and I, we met in Monterey Bay. We were both Leon Panetta fellows. It's a fellowship that Leon Panetta, who's a former CIA director, former chief of staff to Bill Clinton, former a bunch of other things, has an institute in every CSU is allowed to send one person to this institute, and it's a week long in Monterey Bay, and then they fly you to DC, and you intern in DC, all expenses paid. So housing, we got an allowance. They placed us in members' offices. So Dave was from Cal Poly Pomona. I was from Sacramento State. and we were there, and you know, we were the only Latinos in this group. Which, so you were like, hey, dude, I know you because we're Latinos. So I will say, David had a very different thought of what I thought we were, you know, going direction we were going in. So David sat across from me in this classroom where we got trained to be interns. And behind David was the full spread of all of the breakfast goods that I loved. So bagels, cream cheese, frutas, coffee, what you name it, they had it there. And I was always looking at the food because I am always hungry and I wanted to eat it. I wanted to go get more food, but I was like, how do I get over there without interrupting the classroom? And so I was always making eyes at the food. David thought I was making eyes at him.
So like, wow, she really is into me.
She's really, and I was like, no, I'm into the food. So one day, our mutual friend Tiffany, who is an amazing person and powerful Black woman in her own right, we were roommates at the time, and she's like, hey, do you know that guy named David? And I was like, who's that? And she's like, the other Latino guy. And I was like, oh. And I was like, oh, I don't really talk to him. He goes, do you know that he's from the other party? And I was like, what? What? I will let David explain what party that is. I'm not going to out him here on Zoom or on YouTube. But you all can ask him later what I meant by that. So the next day, him and I were walking back to the dorms because they put us in the dorms in like the military dorms on the school, and we walk in like, hey, so I heard that you were from the other party. What the heck is wrong with you?
No, it wasn't that nice.
It wasn't, but we're gonna keep it PG for the group. And so I basically attacked him, to say the least, during this walk, which is about a mile from where we were going. Yeah. So we walked for about a mile and had a very robust conversation about his upbringing, how our politics kind of shaped our experiences, and why we were different in that way. And we continued to have a conversation all the way to DC. We started dating in DC. We came back to California, and I went back to Sacramento. He came back to Los Angeles. And then we continued to hang out. So we've been hanging out together since 2006.
Yeah.
Been married since 2013. So it's been a long time.
Yeah. And
that's a great story. I always thought I could just, I just can't think of dating a Republican, but maybe I should be more open-minded.
I will say, there's certain, in this world that exists now, if he thought certain things, this could not work. I would take me and Lady Kitty Bumpkin would be out of this house. So he's a good one. Don't judge him. He's good. He's good on a lot of things that people in my party are okay with. So
I'll
let's stay nonpartisan as much as we can.
The house divided, but we embrace the house divided in our house, and we have robust conversations.
That's great.
When we need to talk about things like that.
Yeah, that first conversation walking back to our dorms, it was more like she yelled at me for a solid hour, guys. But at the end, I was like, dude, I'm pretty much in love right now.
I mean, I was making my case, ladies.
Anybody who's yelling at me, I'm just it was great. They were passionate.
I love that story. Everybody's gonna love that story. Everybody loves a love story.
Clearly, he agreed with me on some things, at least to put a ring on it. So I figured that's a good thing.
And then we've had the pleasure of being part of Mana since I think just a year or two after we moved here. I found out about Mana from some coworkers at the time at UCSD. So shout out to all my UCSD Mana people out there, Irma and everyone. So they kind of brought me in, and I, like everything with Mana, if you step a foot in, you're going to get pulled in for everything. So it's been awesome being on the board. I can't say more, how amazing the story is of Mana, and that those early years is truly awesome what all of the founders did, and their goals and how driven they were. It's really cool. Man, if we could really document that would be awesome. I think
that's the plan. I do think we have to tell that story for sure.
Yeah. It's awesome. A lot of our leaders right now, they were all involved, and it'd be great to kind of get that really, out there. I would love that.
And you're still creating leaders, so the work hasn't stopped, and it continues to grow. And the time that we moved to San Diego in 2008, and we've seen Mana grow so much over the years, and it continues to get better and better as the years go through. So before I know, we're going to be helping every Latina in San Diego County, because we're going to be that organization. So
all right, so some questions that came through that we just want to give shout outs. The tacos today were provided by an awesome Latino-owned and operated business in Hillcrest here, La Vecindad. Shout out to them. They were awesome. I love those guys. If you have a chance to visit any Latino-owned and operated business in your community, please do that. We got to keep these guys going. It's been a tough last couple of months, and anything we could do to support them, or support any small business in your neighborhood, please try to do that. And then they want to know what tequila you're drinking, Inez, and I guess we're going to join you too right now.
Oh yeah, it's tequila time.
So Tierra Noble, I actually went and got a flight of tequilas at Agave in Old Town. And through that flight, I decided to go with Tierra Noble, and it's actually excellent. And downstairs from Agave in Old Town, there's a liquor store that has amazing selection of tequila. I'm actually gonna go again to Agave, because now I know what tequila I want to try. So it's wonderful. You go to the liquor store, they tell you some tips, and then you go up there and taste them for $20. So
nice. I need to do that.
And thank you for this awesome gift. Inez gifted us an awesome bottle of tequila, so we could join in this toast here as we sign off, everyone. That kind of concludes our.
Didn't they want to see her shirt? So Inez, they
want to see
your shirt.
Oh yeah, I'm glad somebody wanted to see my shirt, because senses people. What does it say?
Yes, sense is very important.
To resist, we must exist. So we must count. Please make sure everybody has filled the census. Salud, everybody.
Salud, everybody.
Gracias.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh my God, double shot.
Yeah.
I've never been the person that turns down tequila.
Oh man, have a happy
that was
Memorial
good,
Day
Inez.
weekend, everyone.
That was great.
We're still live.